I was just listening to the album I'm With You by Red Hot Chili Peppers, and I wanted to talk about how underrated this album feels to me. It feels like, honestly, one of the Chili Peppers' most ambitious, originally conceptual albums that I've heard from an ideas standpoint, from a songwriting, ideas, and production standpoint. It's really underrated as fuck, and I'm just surprised more people don't bring this album up. Does it sound like Red Hot Chili Peppers? Not really. Like it feels like a completely different playing field, or a completely different part of their sound as a band compared to Blood Sugar Sex Magic. You know, that 80s and 90s like crazy stylistic kind of attitude that they had is just kind of done at this point. Like they haven't really done anything like that since that era, you know. So I'm With You, it felt like obviously, you know, John Frusciante not being the band and Josh Klinghoffer taking over, it feels like they were really trying something new, and that's what I want to talk about mainly in this video. Is that you can feel the effort and the work and how much they were trying to do something different. And I think that's where I as a songwriter myself, I can't help but really admire that about them, because they it felt like they wanted to try to restart as a band, or start a new era in with their sound, and try something just different. I really appreciate how different the songs are on this album, and how yeah, like just how unique and original the sound is. I don't know if it gets talked about enough, because I love a lot of these songs. Specifically, like some of my favorites are Meet Me at the Corner, Dance Dance Dance, and Did I Let You Know. There's also just different genres that they tried, and different. It's just ambitious, and very like diligent. The whole album feels like they strategically placed every little thing they wanted to do in a very as tasteful of a way as possible. I don't know if most people would like the album, because a lot of the songs sound like they have like 2 or 3 different songs going on. Like a lot of the times the songs will be playing and jamming, and then it goes into a completely different part and goes from 0 to 100 as far as like changing up the vibe, you know. And I love that, though. I love that because my ears get very frustrated with hearing the same shit over and over and over again. And certain songwriting qualities and production choices are just very overused at this point. And it's hard to feel like you're listening to something different and outside of the box, finally. But that's how this album feels to me. Is anytime I listen to it, I'm like, do I love every song? No. Like, there are maybe 2 or 3 songs that I'm not crazy about. Like, I don't really remember which ones, you know, but just ones that are like the songs that aren't on par with the others are still good and worth listening to. It just feels like they got less attention than the other songs. I think the ones I'm thinking about, like Happiness Loves Company, and some of those tracks that just didn't shine as much as the other ones. Adventures of Rain Dance Maggie, like how that just kind of dropped out of nowhere on the internet, and it was like a leak, I think, and then they ended up like just dropping the whole album, is what if my memory is correct. And that's a cool little pop tune that they had, and I don't know, just felt like they were trying to go off course in a good way. Like, it's so good to try to not even reinvent yourself, but I personally think, as when it comes to anything in the arts, having the ambition to go outside of yourself in that way, or really try something new. Like I'm always craving like something new and original and like I said, different. I just always want that. So I think the reason that this album hits me on such a personal level is, I mean, it's very nostalgic for me. My good friend, when the album came out, a good friend of mine introduced me to it, and it was like right after I decided not to go to college and pursue music, and we were both just so in love with the choices that they made, and in love with the, you know, how like out of the box it really feels. It feels like it's out of the box by Red Hot Chili Peppers standards. You know, they're so commercially driven and so good at writing digestible pop rock song. You know, that era of like Californication, when they were just like on fire on the radio. Like, so many great fucking songs from them from the late 80s to late 90s. So many good ones that, you know, maybe it's just for hardcore fans and people that are used to that kind of pop, very easily accessible kind of sounding music, because we were so conditioned to that for a while. This album just feels so different, just like not like anything else that they had made, you know. Almost like a different band. The album almost sounds like a completely different band with Anthony Kiedis still on vocals in some ways, you know. Of course, Flea and Chad Smith still are doing their thing, but Josh Klinghoffer's style and his guitar playing, his chord choices, I assume he was a very influential part of the songwriting process, because the guitar is just so synonymous with the songs. I'm sure a lot of it was just them all jamming and making it together, but what I'm saying is Josh Klinghoffer's influence, you can feel Josh Klinghoffer bursting with you know, excitement. It feels like his guitar playing on this record is so exciting and larger than life in a lot of ways, and I wonder if Josh Klinghoffer had his own group. I'm wondering what that would sound like, you know, because I know he's like associated with them and is kind of just like that guy in Red Hot Chili Peppers, but it feels like that album in particular shows what his talent is, what his potential is as a songwriter, where his talent really lies, and I feel like he's just an unsung hero in that era of the Chili Peppers run. I feel like no one ever talks about Josh Klinghoffer enough, and how great I'm With You and that whole album, as far as, again, the ideas are just very good, and the songs are so different. I mean, Meet Me at the Corner it does not sound like a Chili Pepper song at all, in a good way. It sounds like, I have no way of relating it to any other band, because it sounds like them, but literally like a completely different, like a parallel universe of them or something. It doesn't I don't know, I have no idea. Like, and that's what I think I really love about this album, is that it makes me feel like I'm kind of searching for things in it still, or it's making me kind of, it's leaving me all of this to ponder. It gives me all of this, you know, all just like some insight into a specific chapter of the Chili Peppers career. And you can feel that. You could just feel so much of what, it was so creative. This album is very creative and very, just really lovely for that reason, because of that like unhinged creativity that you can feel in it. So yeah, I'm wondering if anybody else feels like this is a like insanely underrated album in general, as well as a very underrated Chili Peppers album. Let me know. Let's talk about it in the comments.